Wall Street Unplugged looks beyond the regular headlines heard on mainstream financial media to bring you unscripted interviews and breaking commentary direct from Wall Street right to you on Main Street.
How's it going out there? It's March 20th. I'm Frank Curzio, it's the Wall Street Unplugged podcast. We're breaking the headlines and tell you what's really moving these markets. From today's show, my final four picks for the NCAA tournament, which include no number one seeds, believe it or not. Yes, that means no UConn. The official launch of our Curzio AI newsletter. Also going to talk about how to find the next Microsoft's, Apple's, Google's within the AI space. But first, let's begin with the latest from NVIDIA's GPU conference. Holy shit. That's the only two words I have to say. So NVIDIA and CEO Jensen Huang introduced a new hardware. And more importantly, because NVIDIA is always seen as a hardware company, but there's software and those developments coming in 2024 and beyond. Now, I'm sure most of you never heard of this conference before. That was, even as far as last year, I think it's been going on for 15 years now. So it's a multi-day conference. Now it's become the biggest day in tech, where it's surpassing Apple's iPhone launch, which Tim Cook hosts every September. But there was 11,000 people that attended the conference. Most of them are top developers, creators. Another 20, 30,000 I heard that attended virtually. And the CEO, Jensen, did not disappoint. I want to give a shout out. Congrats to Kramer, who interviewed Jensen at the conference, which I thought was really good. Especially after he put pressure on the CEO to split his stock. Said, when are you getting this split? And he's like, well, I'd like this split, and we'll see. It's better for the employees, so I guess you could expect a split coming in the stock, which, again, has no fundamental value, but means a lot in terms of the stock price, because there's proof of that. So that's all that matters. We want a higher stock price, going to give access to more people buying, and you're going to have people. I'm a fundamental analyst. Nothing changes fundamentally, okay? Nothing. But there is change in sentiment when it comes to the price. And when companies split, you normally see over the next 6 months, 12 months, it goes higher. So more people, more access, he says, especially for his employees. But I thought the interview was pretty good. You could tell at Jim and a lot of us, right? It's like a brand new market. Like, what does this mean? What do these chips mean? What's the software mean? What's going on? Everyone's learning, trying to learn as fast as they can because there's so much money going into this sector, and it's still in its very early stages. But the biggest announcement came when NVIDIA introduced a new Blackwell B200 chip. Okay, I don't want to get technical here. But last year at this conference, NVIDIA introduced a Hopper, which is H, and it's the H100 chip. And they said in the middle of the year, we're going to have an upgrade to that, which is the H200 chip, which is the most powerful. These are the most powerful chips in the world, used to power everything AI, what everyone's buying. And the H200, just to let you know, is just starting to ship now. And they're talking about the Blackwell B200 chip. That's how far, 2 generations in front of everyone. And when you look at this Blackwell chip, it powers trillion parameters, multi-mode models. And I say, what the hell's a parameter? It's basically how data gets transformed. And if you're looking at ChatGPT, which was launched in 2018, amazing, one of the biggest technology launches of our time. This had 117 million parameters. So if you're looking at ChatGPT 4, which is one of the most powerful AI systems in the world, which, by the way, is not even the fastest. Claude 3 is the fastest right now. Has close to 100 IQ, ChatGPT. Put that in perspective, the average person in the United States has an IQ a little bit less than 100. That's where ChatGPT is right now. That uses 1.7 trillion parameters. The new Blackwell chip is going to be able to power 10 trillion parameters. So imagine by 2025, ChatGPT being 5 times faster, right? Just 1 year. I mean, I'm not even going to throw in the hyperparameters, which is the machine learning on top of that, influence how the machines learn, how they perform the new algorithms by themselves. But when you look at NVIDIA, they're on an island by themselves. It used to be viewed as a hardware company. It's not. It's creating all this software around it. And it's like having 15 individual companies because they're targeting every single industry. And they're building these systems around their chips. And as you build this infrastructure, in order for you to use a competitor, you have to destroy all the infrastructure and start from scratch. And if you do that, look what happens. Look what happened to Apple. Great announcement with Google, powering the AI through their smartphone. Look what happens to companies that are falling behind. You're going to see it because I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it in so many small mid-caps that are using this technology when everyone's saying they're getting in it. And these companies have been doing it for 2 years, and you're seeing the results. It's incredible. When I look at NVIDIA and what they're doing, creating this moat and partner, it's a different model. I love different models. I love studying models for businesses. I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. Because you realize, what the hell is Netflix doing? Why are they trading at 200 times PE? Instead of looking and saying, which I do now, why is this company trading at a premium? What are they offering to deserve that premium? Back in the day, it used to be like 200 times forward earnings. You're crazy. I'm not even going near it. Well, there's probably a reason why it built. Look at where NVIDIA was 10, 15 years. NVIDIA was, look where Netflix was. Look where all these companies were with these massive PEs and how they're trillion-dollar companies today. It's where they're going. But the model that they have now when it comes to NVIDIA, it goes against a traditional technology model, which is Meta, Google, Apple. I have to fucking own everything and keep everything. It's mine, 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 mine. It's why the metaverse, which is the omniverse now, which they're talking about, which I'll get to in a minute, why it hasn't fully developed. Because they want full control. They want control of everything. And they have it. That's not what the internet was made for. But they were able to do it and control everything. And we really didn't realize that until COVID, until election season, and what you're allowed to say and what you're not allowed to say before you get kicked off these platforms where you thought it was your content, you owned it, and you didn't. That's not what NVIDIA is doing. They're building these systems to say they're proprietary to your business. You own it. We're going to build everything for you. We're going to make it as easy as possible. We're going to tailor it to your business. And it's not like, here's a chip. Here you go, everybody. Go buy it. It's what do you need? How can we build these systems? How much power do you need? I mean, you're just such light years in terms of even how much power these chips use, which is going to, they're looking ahead, constantly looking ahead, 5 years, 10 years ahead. Where you can't say, well, NVIDIA's chips, well, why use them? Because they require so much more power. No, they don't. So when I look at what they're doing in terms of the model, in terms of the partnerships, let's just partner with everyone. This way, everyone has to flow through their systems, all the cloud companies, everything. Let's flow through NVIDIA. Let's use NVIDIA. They're trying to create their own chips, but they can't create the chips and everything around it that makes these things work. And the time they figure it out, they're going to have to destroy their whole entire model and build it from scratch, which is going to force them to be light years behind the competition, which we know what happens, especially in this incredibly fast-moving industry where, holy cow, every week new announcements come out. ChatGPT 4 is the greatest thing ever, and it's not even the fastest and the most productive right now. Claude 3 already surpassed them. That's a lot of technical jargon. You're like, what? Yeah, Frank, I just don't get it. I understand. But let me break this down for you. Make it really, really simple. AI is not even in the first inning of its growth. It's about to change the landscape of every single industry. Every industry, finance, healthcare, software development, gaming, supply chain, social media, infrastructure, industrials, agriculture, e-commerce, transportation, everything. And I'm seeing it implemented across all these industries as you take a deep dive into financials, what I do. Trade a little bit, but traders look at prices and they say, wow, look at the price of NVIDIA and how far it's gone up. It's parabolic and it's in a bubble. Actually, NVIDIA, you could argue, was in a much, much, much bigger bubble 3 months, 6 months, a year ago. And when you're looking at again, they're just looking at the price. They're not looking at earnings exploding. They're not looking at margins. They're not looking at sales exploding from $5 billion to $20 billion in a quarter. Are you kidding me? And bubbles are created of expectations of what's going to happen in the future. It's not based on all this money coming in now. These guys have the numbers. If you look at the historical PE over the last 10 years for NVIDIA, it's probably 50-ish, 45. It's trading at 35 times forward earnings right now. It's cheaper now than it's been in the last 3, 4, 5 years, outside of when it crashed probably in 2022 really quick. Now you're calling it a bubble? So by focusing on all these markets and not targeting one thing here, one consumer, one business, it's $100 trillion total addressable market that they dominate. So when you see those forecasts call for AI to add 15 trillion to GDP by 2030, I think that forecast is going to come to fruition by 2027. Much, much quicker. And AI is such a big trend, sometimes it's difficult to see, to understand the actual impact it could have. It requires looking into the future, having an imagination of where we could actually go. I mean, similar to the internet in the early 90s was 30 years ago. Holy shit, am I old? Went from, hey, you better get a website or you're going to be left out. And, I don't want to find a website or whatever. To everyone, you better have an email. Then it's text. Smartphones, 4G, which opened the door to cloud, data analytics, social media, cryptocurrencies. Did you see all that stuff? Did you see it in 2010? Did you even see it 7 years ago of where we would be today? $1 trillion companies? I mean, it's such a fast-moving market. It's really incredible when you look at it. There's an incredible chart here that I want to try to bring up. Let me see if I could find it really quick. And it just shows the forecasts. When you're looking at the forecasts of where they were predicting this adoption compared to right now. And when you look at it, this is general artificial intelligence, right? So when you look at AGI, what is AGI? So AGI is how a computer, like once we hit AGI, it means that a computer's operating exactly like a human, pretty much. Now, I'm going to show this to you and bring this up. So if you're watching this on YouTube, it says AI accelerating faster than forecast. If you look at 2019, okay, so this is GPT-3 average, right? So this is before ChatGPT was launched. 2019, they're predicting 80 years before we hit AGI. This is in 2019. By 2020, they updated that to 50 years. By 2021, it's 34 years. By 2022, it's 18 years. And now in 2023, again, we just started 2024, they're forecasting it to happen in 8 years. Based on this trend of being wrong, if you take that trend of being wrong, we're going to get to that point in 2 years. In 2 years. You might be saying, what the hell? I mean, Frank, what the hell does that mean? So if you have a computer that can do and perform all the tasks that you want it to and act like a human, just imagine, like from my perspective, imagine having 3 Frank Curzios. And what you could achieve with that in terms of, okay, I'm calling everyone, right? Everyone subscribes to new services now. We offer that. I'll have a 10-minute phone call with new subscribers. It's a service that we offer. I don't think anyone else offers. A guy in the name of the door is going to actually talk to you because I'm not looking for a quick sale. I'm looking to establish a relationship with you. And a lot of those times, those relationships are amazing because everybody's brilliant in some way, I believe. I truly believe that. There's people I know a lot of stuff that I don't know. I'm pretty good at what I do when it comes to stocks. That's why you listen to me and try to provide you ideas and things like that. But imagine having someone, having this system, being able to learn everything that I do and be able to answer questions, be able to focus on customer service. Imagine how important that would be if you have a problem with customer service and the guy, that's basically talking has his name on the door, or you're going to get the exact thing that he would say. I mean, it's hard to comprehend where we're so early in this stage, it's going to keep learning. And I think Jensen said that, Moby Dick can be read in a second. Okay, that's awesome. Holy cow, it can be read in less than a second. What's unbelievable to me is after it reads it in a second, it's going to be able to answer any single question you have on that book. Try to think about that. That may require you taking mushrooms or smoking a joint or whatever, but if you sit down and really think about this, and then you start researching on the internet, this is where I've been for the past few months. And going in rabbit holes, I'm like, holy shit, where this is going to lead to. And the funny thing is, I didn't really get it too long ago. I was like, man, the AI and these big companies, it's not that. I mean, you know what I see coming? Omniverse, once called the metaverse, right? Everybody, it's here. You can create players, robots that act and function just like players that are going to be in this world with you. 3D rendering, which, I sampled this technology and it was with Steph Curry. It was a real basketball game that was taped that was a week old. And they had a Consumer Electronics Show. And you put the glasses on and you're not an avatar. You're almost like an invisible camera and you can go anywhere inside the game. They're playing Cleveland. And I'm on the court. I'm watching Steph Curry like cross dribbling and just go to the hole. And I'm at half court. I'm turning around. It's behind me. It's in front of me. But that whole 3D rendering and stuff, you actually need faster speeds for that. But that's coming as well. And when it does, what is that going to provide? It's going to provide me to put on, whatever headset you want and actually be at the Super Bowl, being able to watch it anywhere, being able to interact with people in real time. That is coming. That is coming. Being anywhere, any place you want to be. I mean, you have that. And again, I sample these systems. My daughter has the new Vision Quest. And it's incredible right now, but just the interaction where you want more people. The reason why the Fortnites and the Roblox are so big, because you got so many people in Call of Duty, so many people in there. But imagine having those people where they're basically different personalities, but they're built by these robots and bots. Now you have this real world interaction, different personalities, different everything. It's going to create more and more people wanting to be in that world. Spatial computing, whatever you want to call it, but it's like, this digital universe on top of our universe, which is incredible. It's incredible. Research this stuff. It's unbelievable. I mean, you think AI is not around. It's not even in the smartphone yet. It's not even in the smartphone. I mean, what was it, yesterday, the day before Apple announced, Google, okay, it's not even in the smartphone. So now you're going to have a whole entire refresh cycle of an industry that's basically peaked in terms of sales. Everybody has a smartphone now. It's hard to upgrade because they're just so freaking good. You don't need to, Apple needs to put out a phone every year, but you really don't need a phone every year. They force you to get a phone every 3 years, right? They, kind of admitted that and got sued for that. I mean, I know, owning a phone store. It's not even in computers yet, like the standard. It's very little. And only 5% of companies are currently using AI within their businesses. Only 5%. And people are like, it's a bubble. Listen, there's some stocks that are in a bubble. A quick hint, anyone who has AI in their name is in a bubble. You shouldn't have to put your AI in your name. But the ones that are currently using AI, they're seeing earnings and sales explode. And it's not a lot of companies. It's just starting. But not only are they seeing they're lowering costs considerably. So if you look at it, what does this mean? That the companies that are implementing AI today, right now, these are the names that are going to become the next leaders, the next Microsofts, Apples, Googles of the world. Okay, that's the basis of launching my Curzio AI newsletter. Okay, it's officially, I told you I was going to have the launch date. It's going to be on Tuesday, March 26th. So 7 p.m. on Tuesday. I'll be holding a free web event, taking questions live. Talk everything about AI. You could register by going to www.curzioai.com. This is going to be our third web event, which we're starting to do a lot because we're getting amazing reviews for these things. Because it's cool. It's real. It's not bullshit. You're not reading something that you don't know who wrote. It's me. You see it. It's, the Q&A lives and stuff like that and live events. It's really, really cool. I love doing live stuff. But the first 2 events that we did revolved around crypto. And 6 months ago, we highlighted how Bitcoin was trading at 25,000, was about to surge. It was a hard sell because crypto is getting annihilated. That's why we discounted crypto intelligence and people came in. And I'm glad they did. I mean, Bitcoin surged. And we said it was going to surge because you're going to have all these ETFs getting approved just before the halving. And even after the halving, Bitcoin does fantastic. And it's pulled back, and it should pull back. It's up incredibly. But after the halving, forget it. This thing's going to go. It's going to go. So then we had another event, which was only 3 months ago. And what do we say? Said, hey, if you're going to own this stuff, right? Bitcoin, we told you, Bitcoin's going to go high. It's going higher. But you want to own the altcoins. I mean, the meme stocks, some of them are up 10,000%. I'm not telling you, if you want to take a chance on some of them, you're not going to see any of those in the newsletter. But when you look at these altcoins, right, these utility tokens, they outperform Bitcoin by 3 to 1. And this is over 18-month period after the halving. So start positioning yourself. And we have 22 positions on our portfolio. And as of Friday, the average gain in these positions, the average, even a couple losers in the portfolio, is over 200%. I'm not bringing this up to pat myself on the back. You guys know that I shouldn't, according to every marketing strategy and every book 101, never ever, it's kind of like politicians, never admit that you're wrong. I love going over my losers. I have more winners than losers. That's why I don't mind, because you learn the most when you lose money, when you have those losers. And you want to figure out, what did I get wrong? Because that's going to make you better. And doing that over 30 years, yes, you have lots of mistakes. So this is about patting myself on the back. What it's about is, if you want to be a great investor, you have to go to where the puck is going. We told you where the puck was going 6 months ago with Bitcoin. And then 3 months after, while everyone was where the puck is at Bitcoin, telling you to buy Bitcoin, we were telling you to buy altcoins. Now everyone's telling you to buy altcoins when you're in them and up a lot. When it comes to this event on Tuesday at 7 p.m., this is not about buying NVIDIA, Supermicro, Meta, Google, Amazon. Okay, that's where the puck is. That's what everybody's talking about. Who's the hardware companies are going to benefit? Who the big companies are going to benefit? Who's it? It's not about that. This is going to be about where the puck is going. And you need to understand that in this trend, because it's one of the most fascinating trends that you see since the invention of the internet. It's here. There's no bullshit around it, okay? You have bullshit trends. The ultimate confirmation of a trend that's not a fad is spending, CapEx. Look at the amount of money that is pouring into this. Just look at NVIDIA's numbers. Holy shit, we've never seen anything like this ever, ever, ever. And there's a reason why. Because if you have the best systems, if you have the best services, now when you're working with cloud companies, whether it's AWS, Azure, Microsoft, if it's Dell, notice how good Dell's doing. Even Hewlett Packard you could throw in there, some of these bigger names. You want to be able to combine your services, your AI systems with these companies, and that's why they need to get ahead of this. That's why they're spending so much money. Now, where the puck is going, in that presentation, I promise you one thing. I'm going to blow your effing mind out with the research that I've uncovered. I haven't seen it everywhere. I mean, people are talking about all kinds of things within AI. Generative AI, ChatGPT, this isn't going to be about that. It's about the next wave, which is the small and mid-cap companies that are currently using AI, that are already seeing an explosion in almost every single metric. And they're doing this while cutting their employees. And that's something, as someone who covered financials all my life, you don't see. You have to spend money to make money when you're cutting 10% plus of your workforce. You're trying to save money, you're cutting costs, but yet you're seeing more productivity. The holy grail of every business. That is happening with a few companies, because there's select companies that have been doing this over the past 2 years while everyone else is playing catch up. So one name recommending Curzio AI in the newsletter, which all subs are going to have access to, it's in the healthcare industry. This is just one industry, and listen to this. Competitors all over the place, even in Kramer's interview, he mentioned it too, in healthcare with Jensen and stuff like that. That was yesterday. They're all using AI because they're forced to be using AI, because it's all about, data, discovery, all this stuff. But a lot of them are late to the party. Some of them are raising capital. And they're raising capital with unfavorable terms because interest rates are really high. Some are using warrants or whatever. And they're buying like specific AI companies that you may not have heard of. Most of the best ones have been bought in the private market by the big guys. But they're incorporating AI into their businesses. And some of them are a little bit further along than others. And I'm researching these going, wow, this is a pretty cool company. Wow, if this works out. And then all of a sudden I see a company trading at a massive, massive premium. This company doesn't generate really any revenue. As a $500 million market cap, it's a company that's not going to show up on any screens. And I found it just because I tell everyone, when you do your research and you find a stock pick that you really want to buy within a specific industry, do comp analysis, comparative analysis, because chances are you might find another name that could be a little bit cheaper, has better technology that you never heard of, or trust me, it happens to me all the time. I'm like, wow, this is a really good name. And then I see something else like this is a much better play. And a lot of times it's not going to be on anyone's radar. So this company, while all of its competitors are getting into AI and some of them are just exploring it, they've been doing this for 3 years. So again, it's barely generating any revenue, so it looks crazy expensive, and it's not showing up on any screens. But it just signed 6 partnerships, two big pharma companies. That could, and this is from the company, it could result in $900 million plus in royalties inside a few years. It's crazy considering it's a $500 million market cap company. Now, what does that mean as someone that covers biotech when it comes to revenue? You could easily place, if you have a growing biotech company generating revenue, easily a 10 times sales number on it, easily. That's probably conservative in biotech. And if you did that for this $500 million market company and this forecast comes to fruition, this is a $10 billion plus company, which is a 20x from here. I know, you're like, 20x. That's bullshit. You should. Your bullshit radar should go up when somebody says that. You should. I'll be the first to tell you that. Until you see that the greatest tech investor in the world, which is my opinion, just took a stake in this company in February. And by the way, I love this name before finding that data point, which was buried someplace. Wasn't as easy to find. Plus the CEO, the founder, I'm like, all right, these guys selling, are the insiders selling? You have, a company that has gone up and it's $500 million market cap. Again, it went higher and then it pulled back and they did a nice capital raise because they're spending a lot of money to build this system because it's state of the art. It's the whole entire package. It's not just a system where, hey, let me see some of your compounds. We'll throw this in here. Here's AI. This could work. They actually have a system where they take it, and it's called a wet lab, and they use it with those compounds in a 6-week study along with all their data they're learning through AI. And now they formulate it and say, here you go, Pfizer. Here you go, Merck. Holy shit. Because when you look at the healthcare industry, there's 16 million compounds in the libraries of the largest pharmaceutical companies in the world. And what does that mean, right? These compounds, these little compounds, right? They stay on the shelves. And you want to mix and match those compounds, you can come up with the best drugs ever. However, you're not really pushing the issue because it costs over $2 billion and takes over 13 years to bring a new drug to market. I know we all hate the healthcare companies. I understand. We all hate them. Especially through COVID. You had like Pfizer getting bribes the FDA. You have, the prices that these guys charge. You never want a cure. You want a treatment only. Again, these guys are businesses and they want to generate money. I think the U.S. outside of one other country, only 2 countries, I think, that allow healthcare companies to advertise in the media. And correct me if I'm wrong on that. I'm pretty sure. But with those costs, $2 billion to bring a new drug to market, 13 years to bring a new drug to market with over $2 billion in costs, this company, through its AI platform, right now that works, is cutting the preclinical time to bring a drug to market from 5 years, that preclinical stage, to 2 years. And that preclinical cost from $45 million to $15 million. Take a second and think of the possibilities. How will not every single big pharma company use this small company's platform? A service that shortens the time frame to bring a drug to market from 13 and a half years to, say, overall, maybe 8 or 9. I mean, guys, it's a real fucking big deal considering these patents are only for 20 years. So the time they come to the market, and that's an average of 13 and a half years, it could take 15 years. Imagine how much money you make every single year that you're able to save, not to mention the cost to bring it to market. I mean, you see tens of billions of dollars in more sales just by using this company. What is that worth to the biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world? That's why they're all going into AI. Now, this is one company in one industry that become the next Amgen, the next Eli Lilly, the next $100 billion. Eli Lilly may be the first $1 trillion healthcare market cap company. But these are the ideas that are going to make their way into the Curzio AI newsletter. And the first newsletter that I'm launching in 7 years. I just launched newsletters on every trend, I believe. It's something. The last one was crypto. Look where we are on crypto. It's going to be different from almost every other newsletter out there that covers AI. Since the names, even the one I just meant, you're not going to see. It's not going to show up on screens. It requires lots of working hours. It requires lots of digging. With this name, I found by researching 4 other companies before this in detail, before OneNote had this one as a comparison. I'm like, why is this one trading at such a high premium? What's going on here? Again, that should not be a red flag. That should be like, let me see why this company's trading at such a valuation. What kind of technology did they have that people are paying such a high premium? And it may be nothing, and that might be a good short. But you should be digging when you see expensive companies. Don't run. I used to run, and I missed so many. I missed the Apples and the Microsofts when I was younger. I missed them. I didn't get it. I didn't understand Netflix. I didn't understand. I compared them to a cable company. It's trading 3 times the value of a cable company. Why am I going to buy it for? Because they're not competing against cable companies. Every single cable company was competing against Netflix. They own the pie. Tesla owns the pie for EVs. That's why they're bigger than all the market caps combined. While everyone's trying to get in, now they can't even get in. And trust me, Tesla, it's on a downturn and low in prices. I saw the first Cybertruck the other day, too. It reminded me of the $6 million man, was it? It was something from that old, almost like Knight Rider, that tank that Kit fought. It just looks like a toaster. I was just like, but people are going to buy it. And they're going to be all right, Tesla. They'll be fine. A little bit of a downturn now. We know EVs and stuff like that. I think Rivian's going to be fine as well. Great company. But that's how you have to value some of these companies when you look at them. It's like, don't look at them as a comparison to, how I could take market share. They're becoming the pie, and everyone's looking to take market share from them. That's when you change the landscape. That's why I love looking at models. To me, it's fascinating. I mean, my boring shit to you, I don't know. To me, it's fascinating because that's where you find the greatest ideas. And this is an opportunity to find some of the greatest ideas. Because there's companies that have been doing this for 3 years, that have been partnered with NVIDIA for 3 years talking about, but no one's really paying attention because they're small caps and everyone loves the big guys. Especially over the past few years since COVID. Own the 7 largest stocks and disappear. Now 35% of the market. And I got news for you. That percentage is going to go a lot higher. So you look at the AI newsletter, these are the ideas. It's small mid caps. Going deep into them. And I'm going to show you during this event how deep I go. I'm not going to make it boring, and you don't have to do shit. You don't have to do any of this. I'm doing it for you. All you have to do is recommend the stock. I'm going to tell you just buy the stock I tell you to buy, which I'm going to be investing in these personally as well. It also includes me sampling new AI technologies, which are coming out like every single week. It's fascinating. Exclusive interviews. I'm taping one a little bit later today. That person happens to be the director of AI for the Mayo Clinic. Doesn't get better than that, looking for new ideas. I was on the phone an hour for this guy. I could have been on the phone for 3 hours with him. I felt terrible. I was asking him so many questions, like, I got to do an interview with you. These are going to be exclusive interviews for the newsletter. Maybe we'll offer a glimpse of that, of what he's saying on Tuesday. Get him taping it later. And look, I'm not going to BS you. And you look at Tuesday's AI event, it's going to be all around selling our new product, Curzio AI. Right? It's the first newsletter, again, I launched in 7 years. Yes, attendees are going to get a special deal since we're only marketing this to Curzio followers. We're not, you're not seeing this on Yahoo Finance or anything like that. But you don't have to buy anything. I just want you to attend the event. It's free. It's going to be a quick presentation. You're going to sit back, take all your questions live. Daniel's going to be here with me as well. Daniel Creech. Takes Wall Street Unplugged Premium with me all the time. Lots of compliments on him, which is cool. We sit here. It's fun. I'm going to be drinking beers, hanging out. And a lot of times, the last 2 times we did this with the webinar, a lot of people stayed on, which is rare with these events. You say, okay, I got the event. All right, I got the off. Okay, I'm gone. But it's really cool because we're answering all the questions. You get to ask those questions live. And, look, I'm independent. Nobody owns me. I'm going to tell you how it is. Sometimes that might hurt your feelings, but I'm not going to bullshit you. You could say, Frank's an idiot. I don't agree with his opinion. He's an effing idiot. But what you'll never say is, I don't trust him. I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel. I'm going to tell you what names to avoid, which there's some of them are definitely in your portfolio right now that you have to be really, really careful. And I'll tell you why. It's actually going to be one of our bonus reports of AI names to avoid, because some of those you could say are in a bubble, definitely in a bubble. You attend this event, you ask questions, you're going to see stuff that you're not seeing anyplace else. And trust me, it's going to blow your mind, because it's not easy to blow my mind. I've seen everything. I've seen Wall Street, where Wall Street is designed to always fuck the retail investor. It's how do we get the retail the most excited to sell them all the crap that we could dump to them. That's Wall Street. That's it. I've been there. I didn't do that, but I've been there. That's what SPACs are about. That's what so many of these companies are about. It's all about getting retail investors so excited about something where they're not even going to look at the fundamentals or anything. They're just going to buy this shit. You have guys like Chamath and hedge fund managers and Branson buying 10 jets after telling everyone, wow, we're all going to space and this company's great, and selling at 35. It's $1. It's going out of business. Virgin Galactic. That's the shit you have to contend with. That's why I do this. Seriously, I don't have to work. I don't have to do this. I've done well enough in my life where I could just do one podcast and say, okay, I'm going to shut the business and that's it. But I'm passionate about this. And there's tens of millions of people that want someone out there they could actually listen to, that they could trust. You don't have to agree with everything I say. That's fine. Just being able to trust someone and say, okay, I get it. I mean, holy shit, if an industry isn't, I've never seen an industry in more dire need than that right now. Ever. There's just so much bullshit out there. And it's insane and it's crazy. That's the industry. Unfortunately, the industry I'm in. Where sometimes we get lumped with that bullshit, which pisses me off. When you're looking at this industry and AI, you have to have money allocated to this sector in the right areas. And you could own NVIDIA. I'm not saying not to own NVIDIA. I'm just saying you're not going to be a millionaire buying NVIDIA here. Even if you bought it last year, you'd be up 100%. You're not going to be a millionaire. It's not going to be like 20, 30x to move the needle, some of these stocks. They're probably going to go a lot higher. But it's the small ones that are not going to have AI in their name, that are not going to have divisions of AI, that they can say, hey, we generated X millions because of AI. It's how they're using AI within these divisions. And you're going to see the earnings explode. You're going to see sales explode. You see margins go higher and the costs get cut. And I'm going to show examples of this where it's hard to find, but when you see it, you're going to be like things I haven't seen for 30 years covering fundamentals. That's why I'm like, whoa, what happened to Microsoft? How did Microsoft lay off 13% of its employees, cut CapEx by $4 billion, and see almost a tripling in earnings? That never, ever, ever happens. You don't see that. How did it happen? And that's how you find these companies when you look under the hood. There's a lot of opportunities out there to be next Microsoft, Apple's, NVIDIA's. I'm going to show you exactly how to significantly increase your odds of finding one of these, holding them, buying and holding them, and just forgetting about them. And there's small caps that are going to start taking market share from the big caps, from bigger names. I'm not talking about the big technology companies that are so big and positioned so well. But there's industry leaders across all these sectors that are late to the party. And these smaller names they're starting to spend a lot of money in getting into. They're more nimble. They can make decisions a lot quicker. It's less bureaucratic from these small companies than is these big companies and convincing the right person. I've seen that even in the drug discovery area. Well, one company I had a while ago in one of our newsletters was like, AI is bullshit. Now he's like, no, we're going to get into AI. Well, there's 9 companies now that are into it. And the one company I'm recommending has been in for 3 years. You're late. You're in trouble. You're going to lose market share. Now you got to make a big splash, a big move, buy AI, buy a company, maybe buy this company or whatever. But when you fall behind, Now, if you fall behind, this isn't something, oh, well, they're doing something in 3 years, it's going to happen. You could fall behind immediately. Apple is the biggest company and the greatest company on the planet. And in 6 months, you saw all these other technology companies significantly outperform the biggest because they were a few months late on AI. Few months with the biggest company with $100 billion at its fingertips to spend and to buy anything they want. That's how effing quick this is moving. That should have you excited as an investor. You just have to know where to look in the right areas. And I'm going to show you that on Tuesday. So it's next Tuesday, March 26th, 7 p.m. I was going to do it this Thursday. However, it's the most important day in the world, which is opening day of March Madness. And I'm like, there's no way for my sake or everyone else's sake that I'd have that then, even though you'd be able to watch a replay a couple days later, whatever. But I don't care how exciting the event would be. It's not going to be more exciting than basketball, opening day of the big dance, which you guys know that I love. Okay. Speaking of March Madness, I don't know if I should give you my Final Four picks because I taped a special podcast yesterday. So it's on iTunes and I covered it. It's like 15 minutes, really in-depth details. My Final Four does not include any number 1 teams and only includes one number 2 team. And I think I have Kansas going to the Sweet 16 because they're supposed to get both of their best players back. And when they're at full strength, they beat Houston, they beat Tennessee, they beat Connecticut, so I'm like, they're not going to lose as quick as everybody believes. They lost the last few games, but I just found out yesterday night that one of their top players, their top player, which is not Dickinson, it's McCullough, is not going to play for the tournament, which is a big deal. I mean, not only is he the leading scorer, he's the best defender on a team, and there's a shot that they could lose in the first round. But other than that, a lot of analysis, a lot of details. Go to iTunes, and again, you can really see me get into it. And I will say this. If you have a spouse that's not into college basketball, have them fill out a bracket this year. I mean, the parity this year is incredible. I mean, so much so, if you look, and I've never seen this, and I've watched college basketball for 40 years. Okay, I'm 51. Maybe 45 years. I mean, that's been my life, basketball, such a long time before this. I've never seen, like, the top 3 teams lose. The top 3 or 4 or the 4 number 1 seeds lost on the way into the tournament. Usually they win their tournaments, but it's not just that they lost. Houston lost by 30 to Iowa State. They were supposedly the best team, probably going to be number 1 seed ahead of Connecticut. Okay, number 1 seed. Purdue lost to Wisconsin. Wisconsin is a shit show. That team's terrible. They've been terrible all year. And by the way, Virginia making that tournament over St. John's is an effing joke. It's an effing joke. I mean, St. John's won the last 7 games. They did everything required of them. And then they came down to the last game playing Connecticut, and they lost by 5 to the best team in the nation on a neutral court, by 5. If you look at the last 8 games from Connecticut, they blew out every single team other than St. John's. They're averaging 90 points a game. This is a team that could have made a massive, massive run. And just to see Virginia, really? Virginia? Come on. 6 Mountain West teams? Come on. 3 biggest teams? Come on. That's just my rant. Nothing else. Purdue lost to Wisconsin, and then North Carolina lost to North Carolina State. North Carolina State was terrible. Now they made this amazing run. How doesn't North Carolina win that game? And it wasn't close. They got beaten. These are 3 of the number 1 seeds. And then you have UConn, who's in a Big East, who really wasn't that good this year. And UConn is not better than they were last year. It's very difficult to repeat. And they are by far in the hardest bracket of 4 teams that could actually win coming out of that bracket. So it's the only little tease I'm going to give you to listen to it. Again, it's on there, my Final Four picks. People like to listen. Unlike the Super Bowl where I get it wrong all the time, and I tell you guys so you can make money off of my pick. I think I was 3 times in the past 13 years for the Super Bowl. When it comes to college basketball, it's a little different. But yeah, you'll have fun with that, and take a look at my picks. Again, no number 1 seeds, which you're not going to see out there, and it should be fun. But have someone that doesn't really have a lot of knowledge of college basketball go and fill a bracket out, because they are 8, 9 seeds that could beat 1 seeds. There's a lot of really, really, really good teams out there that could beat number 1 seeds. So it should be fun. I'm looking forward to that tournament, but more importantly, I'm also looking forward to next Tuesday, 7 p.m. It's the webinar, Everything AI, live Q&A. And you can register for that event at CurzioAI.com. We're going to have a lot of fun. We'll probably talk about it a little bit more in tomorrow's podcast, which is Wall Street Unplugged Premium. But definitely take a look at some of the stories, some of the things happening at the NVIDIA conference, because it really, really is exciting. I don't want to get too technical. It's my job to read all the shit, analyze it, try to explain it to you to understand. Hopefully I did that today, but I'm really going to do that on Tuesday. But there's some amazing announcements, and you could see why they're light years ahead of everybody else. I mean, if you look at AMD is expected to generate $3 billion off of AI over the next 12 months, and NVIDIA is expected to generate $100 billion. So, for those of you buying AMD up here with those expectations that it's, they're going to be able to compete with NVIDIA, they're not. They're not. Just be careful. Expectations are so freaking high for AMD right now. It can go higher and can keep going higher and go higher and higher and go up another 300%. I'm just saying that they're not NVIDIA. NVIDIA is a cheaper company, growing much faster, seeing the results, and AMD doesn't have what NVIDIA has. This whole ecosystem around all their hardware that everyone's falling in love with, and they're all building this stuff. It's going to be really hard for anyone else to compete, especially for a long, long time. So really cool stuff. Looking forward to that presentation and webinar. Again, you can join at CurzioAI.com. Any questions, comments, I'm here for you. Feel free to email at frank@CurzioResearch.com. And I'll see you guys tomorrow on Wall Street Unplugged Premium. Take care. Love this episode of Wall Street Unplugged? I think you'll really love Wall Street Unplugged Premium. The Wall Street Unplugged Premium is my members-only podcast where I dive even deeper into this week's events. Well, I'll do even more than tell you what's moving these markets. I'll tell you specifically what moves you can make today. So this is going to be about trading. Put big money in your pocket right away due to the inconsistencies I see daily in the market. I'm talking about specific investment ideas I'm recommending and tracking each week that I believe will be impacted directly by everything I just talked about today. Plus, you're going to get the chance to go even further down the rabbit hole with me and my co-host, who's Daniel Creech, as we discuss which of these week's trends could turn into massive windfalls. Could the big trends that we see lurking on the horizon, also the news we're picking up from our network of insiders, which has gotten bigger and bigger thanks to you and so many people listening to this podcast in over 100 countries. And you get a chance to talk to me directly in my special Ask Me Anything Q&A session. All of that and a lot more, like premium interviews with world leaders in finance, technology, industry, and politics. This is all part of Wall Street Unplugged Premium. And becoming a member is super simple and super cheap. So head on over to WSUoffer.com to check it all out. Sign up today and you won't miss a thing. That's WSUoffer.com.
Wall Street Unplugged is produced by Curzio Research, one of the most respected financial media companies in the industry. The information presented on Wall Street Unplugged is the opinion of its host and guests. You should not base your investment decisions solely on this broadcast. Remember, it's your money and your responsibility.